Welcome to our podcast on Puerto Rican history and politics. I'm Gabriela, and today we're diving into the complex topic of Puerto Rico's independence movement.
And I'm Mateo. We'll be exploring the historical context, key figures, and ongoing debates surrounding Puerto Rico's relationship with the United States. Let's start with some background. Gabriela, can you give us a brief overview?
Certainly, Mateo. Puerto Rico became a U.S. territory in 1898 after the Spanish-American War. Since then, there's been an ongoing debate about the island's political status. While only a minority of Puerto Ricans currently support full independence, the movement has a rich and often turbulent history.
That's right. And at the center of this history is Pedro Albizu Campos, often called the father of the Puerto Rican independence movement. Can you tell us more about him, Gabriela?
Albizu Campos was a fascinating figure, Mateo. Born when the U.S. invaded Puerto Rico, he went on to study law at Harvard. His experiences with racism while serving in a segregated unit during World War I shaped his views on U.S. colonialism. He became a vocal advocate for Puerto Rican independence, even supporting armed resistance.
It sounds like Albizu Campos faced significant opposition from the U.S. government. What kind of challenges did he and other independence supporters encounter?
The U.S. government's response was often brutal, Mateo. Albizu Campos was arrested multiple times, and there were several violent incidents involving independence supporters. One of the most tragic was the Ponce Massacre in 1937, where police killed 19 people during a peaceful march.
That's horrific, Gabriela. It seems the U.S. government was determined to suppress the independence movement. Were there other forms of persecution?
Yes, the suppression went beyond violence. The FBI kept secret files called carpetas on independence supporters. Many were blacklisted and denied jobs. This persecution had a lasting impact on the movement's popularity.
It's clear that this history has shaped Puerto Rico's political landscape, but where does the independence movement stand today?
Today, support for full independence is relatively low, with only about 6% of Puerto Ricans choosing it in recent status referendums. However, the Puerto Rican Independence Party still plays a role in local politics. Some argue that the historical persecution has contributed to this low support.
Interesting. So what are the main arguments for and against independence today?
Supporters of independence argue that it would allow Puerto Rico to fully embrace its cultural identity and make its own economic and political decisions. They believe Puerto Rico could thrive as a sovereign nation, possibly as part of a Caribbean community.
And what about the arguments against independence?
Those opposed to independence often cite economic concerns. Puerto Rico receives billions in federal funding from the U.S. annually. There's also the issue of U.S. citizenship. Many Puerto Ricans value their American passports and the opportunities they provide.
It's certainly a complex issue. Are there any alternatives to full independence or the current territorial status?
Yes, there are. The two main alternatives are statehood, which would make Puerto Rico the 51st U.S. state, and various forms of free association, which would give Puerto Rico more autonomy while maintaining ties to the U.S.
This history really highlights the complexities of colonialism and self-determination. It's not just about political status, but also about cultural identity, economic realities, and historical trauma.
Absolutely, Mateo. And it's important to note that while we focused on the independence movement, the majority of Puerto Ricans today support either statehood or some form of association with the U.S. The debate is ongoing, and it's crucial for Puerto Ricans to have a voice in determining their future.
Thank you, Gabriela, for this insightful discussion. To our listeners, we encourage you to continue learning about this topic and to consider the various perspectives in this ongoing debate.
Thank you, Mateo, and thanks to all our listeners. Remember, understanding complex historical and political issues like this requires ongoing education and open-minded discussion. Until next time,